Hey everyone. I have a few things to say, and I apologize that I needed to do this the way that I had to do it, but it's the best way for people to understand who I am, and more specifically, what I am. I understand that things are not always what they look like, and I also understand that I may not seem like anybody that knows anything. I realize more often than not, you see me acting out or speaking out about things that irk me or bother me. But the thing is, I'm just like everyone else, but more so than most people realize. I don't mean to be anybody's problem. I don't ever want to be anyone's burden. But my goal in life is to try to make a difference in the world in any way that I can. My life itself has actually been pretty difficult. I've had to put up with a lot of things. I've had to deal with things that most people my age should never have had to deal with. But on a broad spectrum scale, things that you take for granted I may not have ever had. But things that I've had to endure and go through have shaped me to be sometimes a calloused and apparently uncaring person, but that's not the case. I care about everyone equally. And I don't mean to come off the way that I do. I know other things that have popped up on my channel. I talk about people that face everyday issues ever so often. I address issues of such nature as to say that maybe these things shouldn't be on the news or perhaps even acknowledged on such a broad scale as they are. But our world, the way that it is, more people focus on the negativity as opposed to the positivity. And it's very difficult to maintain a positive persona whenever I myself am discriminated against on a constant basis from people that don't understand me and don't understand people like me. I have attention deficit disorder. It's not it's not glamorous. It's not fun. It's not one of the things that you want to tell people about because people will never understand you. But understand, attention deficit disorder and attention deficit hyperactivity disorder are actually two different things. It might sound far-fetched. Believe me, I understand when people look at me and see somebody walking and talking. Sometimes you wouldn't understand that I have mental issues, mental disabilities. But when I communicate with somebody, if I have to rush through it, you may not understand anything that I say. It's not because I'm hyperactive, and it's not because I'm retarded. I do have a mental handicap, and in a way it does classify as mental retardation. This doesn't mean that I don't know the term, and it doesn't mean that I'm low functioning at all. I'm actually a very high functioning form of autistic as well. It's hard to explain it, and with my attention deficit disorder, I'm not able to read. And it's not to say that I can't read. I can literally read, but if I wanted to entertain myself, a book isn't the way that I do it. I love to read a really good novel, but it has to grab me in a way that most people wouldn't understand. Because of my attention deficit, if I'm reading and if I glance away from the page, if even for a split second, I lose my place and I have to reread. And if the novel can't hold my attention, then I can't really enjoy it. And if I can't enjoy it, then I feel that I lost myself in the attempt to read. A few good books have actually been able to hold my attention before while trying to read. Uh, the Eyes of a Dragon from Stephen King, at least I believe that was a Stephen King novel. It was very entertaining, and I literally read through 2 or 3 chapters before I ever even realized that I made it that far in the book. And whenever I tried to resume my normal life the next day, I didn't realize that I had literally stayed up all night reading the book. I thought I'd have, just read a couple of pages, and it wasn't that I got bored with it, it's just my alarm clock was ringing and I had to get ready to go to school. And with things the way that they were at the time, I couldn't sit around and read all the time, and I can't maintain my focus long enough to do things like that. But I do enjoy visual entertainment such as movies and television, but not the typical thing that you see from somebody like me. I like educational programs far more than anything else. I enjoy watching scientific programs, watching movies and shows about animals, learning about biology, assorted different things in the medical community. The television series House, for instance, it may not be, like true to life education, but it intrigues me. I enjoy it. Other shows such as Mythbusters, I enjoy watching those too. It's more about the entertainment value, plus the fact that a lot of the things that they do in the educational programs and talk about, they pique my interest in an inquisitive mind. Most people may not understand that either. And at the same time that I enjoy all of those shows and movies, I also like to watch shows like Rick and Morty. I do realize that it's sci-fi BS, but also it also piques my it piques my curiosity, and it also makes me think about what life would be like if such scientific evaluations or inventions would actually exist. How great things would be if we could teleport using portals and time travel and things like that. I could think of so many ways that the world would be a better place, but also more chaotic. Long story short, don't judge a book by its cover. There's always more to it than what people understand. And if you have questions about who I am or what I do, you're more than welcome to ask me. I'm not shy, and I'm not scared. I've just had to live a really very tough life, and sometimes I might come off as rude or harsh, sometimes even hostile. It's not the way that I want to appear, but I just can't control that part of me. When you have to deal with the things that I have to deal with for as long as I've had to deal with them, sometimes you lose faith in people. And when you lose faith in people, sometimes they lose faith in you before you ever even had a chance to introduce yourself to them. That's part of life, the way that it is for people like me. And I wanted to let all of you know that we're not that different. I just do things different than the way you do. And when people want to understand people like me, the best way to do it is to jump in head first. You know, don't hesitate. When you want to befriend somebody like me, you don't have to run up with a fistful of money and say, hey, I can solve all your problems. Here's money and here's help. No. The way to learn about people like me is to interact with us. We're the same as everyone else. We just do things differently. I have every race in the human race in my bloodlines. I have nature that is multilinguistic, to say the least. I love to learn. I love to work with all kinds of different educational things. And learning languages is fun. Playing mind teaser puzzles is also fun. Just, I don't have opportunities to do things like that because of my financial problems. I do them on my game, but, on my games on my phone, that don't mean that I have money to spare for, like specialized timer boosts, so I have to, sometimes replay those puzzle levels very often just so that I can take the step at my pace. Sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. But I wanted to let you know. And most of the things that people think about me are actually pretty common and usually misunderstood. I use knives for assorted different arts and crafts. I use weaponry and tools just like everything. I try to get hands-on study with everything that I can. I like to hunt with a bow and arrow. I like to fish. I love to just get out into nature whenever the weather's permitting and whenever I'm not dealing with physical ailments. I have aches and pains throughout every joint in my body, but I still move forward every time that I can. I might not seem like it, but I'm actually pretty active. I just don't like to be forced to be active. I don't like to interact with everybody because there's so many hateful people in the world. I don't really know what my end goal is as far as all of these different things about myself on this video. But as always, this is your friendly Bladester channel, and I appreciate this time to just explain myself. And I hope that in the future you or anyone that might be interested in learning more about me may interact with the videos. Post a comment, communicate. We might not be so different after all. It doesn't always fall under the categories of black and white. There's a lot of gray too. And just because I don't have a job doesn't mean I don't work very hard. I just don't get paid for my efforts. And making a difference in the world ain't as easy for me as it is for people that already started higher on the ladder. And that don't make any difference where you started. If you started at the bottom and you're somewhere higher now, good job. If you started at the bottom, you're still at the bottom, well, I wish I could help. But that's pretty well the way I've been all of my life. And to those people that started midway or higher on the ladder and still there, well, I can't say yay or nay as to whether I encourage people to be looking up to those who started higher on the ladder, because, to be honest, don't judge a book by its cover, and don't judge a person until you've walked a mile in their shoes. You can't ever understand the struggle of another person. I've had friends that were homeless. I myself have never been. I've never went without food, but more than a couple of times I've had to eat food that was well past its expiration date. I've never missed a meal that I can remember, but there's been plenty of times when just simply eating would make me sick because of things that I had to eat sometimes. And it's not because my family didn't want to take care of me, it's because of our financial problems. And those same problems face everybody, or are faced by everybody, more specifically. And I think that pretty much sums up everything I wanted to say. Again, I hope you found this informative, and I sincerely hope that anybody watching is not offended by the things that I've said on my other videos. And I hope that if you meet me in person, that you sincerely take the time to listen to what I have to say. I may not be as stupid as I appear. I just like to dress comfortably. Have a wonderful, blessed day. See ya.